Welcome to Uncle Ponte. Folks, today I want to tell you an Irish rugby story. An Irish rugby story. And here's why I want to tell you. This is the World Cup that got away from Ireland. And when I look at the photographs of Johnny Sexton at the end when New Zealand went and put Ireland out and the tears running down his face, there is a man who believed that he was going to be the captain of an Irish team that was going to win the World Cup. And he was right to believe that. Because here's why. Just look what has happened since. Okay? And forget about, oh, well, Ireland got knocked out in the quarterfinals. That's rubbish. Okay? Rubbish. Because here's the point. Yes, Ireland got beaten by New Zealand by a very clever play. Well done to the guy who got his hand under the ball. Because Ireland, yes, chasing the game the whole way through, but had they landed that try, I think it would have been a different story. And we'd all been going, look at Ireland, how they came back from always being behind, and at the death they went and won the game. But here's my point. Ireland is the only team that was able to beat South Africa. And South Africa find themselves in the final. South Africa have done away with France. South Africa have done away with Scotland. South Africa went and did away with England. Although that was a cruel game. South Africa have ended up that the Northern Hemisphere teams, for the most part, with the exception of Ireland, they have overcome. And here's my point. Ireland went into this World Cup as number one in the rankings. So if South Africa were to win the World Cup, Ireland still remains the only team that has beaten South Africa, which makes it that it's even more painful for us because it only goes to prove that it could have been ours and we lost it. And so our expectation of winning the World Cup got reduced to tears. Nigel, you're looking at it all wrong. Ireland were put out by New Zealand in the quarter-finals. Ireland had never progressed beyond the quarter-finals. That's not the logic I'm using here. I'm looking at the logic of the two teams that have got to the final. And one of them is South Africa. And if South Africa were to win, Ireland is the only team that went and beat South Africa. You see, if Ireland had overcome New Zealand, Ireland could have overcome Argentina, and it would have been an Ireland-South Africa final yet again, where Ireland are going, we've already beaten these guys once, let's beat them again. And so, as this tournament progresses, the pain for the Irish only increases, because our expectation of being able to win the World Cup ended in tears because of a New Zealand hand that saved the grounding of the ball. But it got me thinking. It got me thinking about expectation. What is my expectation? Am I expecting God to go and fulfill his word? Am I expecting that Jesus Christ is building his church, even in a Western society where Christianity is in decline, in inverted commas? Am I someone who has an expectation that God is going to answer prayer, that God is going to fulfill his word when Jesus goes and says, if you believe you have received, it will be given unto you? Am I someone that even when I have a lament like the psalmist in Psalm 5, that I can go and say, listen to my words, Lord, consider my lament, hear my cry for help, my King and my God, for to you I pray. In the morning, Lord, you hear my voice. In the morning I lay my requests before you and wait with expectation. Am I someone who waits with expectation that God is going to answer my prayers? Or am I someone who has already gone out with a defeated heart, thinking that my expectation is not really founded on anything and it's just going to end in tears? When I go and discover the scripture, as I said, where Jesus goes and says that he will build his church, is my expectation that yes, he is going to fulfill that word where I am, in the places that I minister? Is that expectation going to end in tears? Or, as the person in my congregation, hi Marika, went and said, Ireland just weren't up for it on the day. Is it that it could be said, Nigel, you talked a great game, but you just weren't up for it on the day? I am challenged by that. Challenged about my expectation. Is my expectation something that really is on the go all of the time? Am I someone who's fired up in my spirit? Am I someone who's enthused by God? Jeremiah, even though I hate to preach a terrible message, he goes and he says that when he decided that he wasn't going to say his line, his inner core just burnt up with fire, he was on flame, he just had to go and speak. He couldn't contain it. It consumed him. Oh, that I would have an expectation that God will work and minister to me like that. I want to ask you a question though. Have you an expectation that God is going to work and minister through you like that? I have another question. Have you an expectation that you can actually wait expectantly upon the Lord? You can wait with expectation that He is going to answer your prayer. How do you sit today with that? Or are we going to sit on the sideline and end up when it's all over, think that all of our expectations just ended in tears? Because you know what? I think many of us are already in that place. We've given up on God, given up on the fact that He doesn't lie and that He actually does fulfill His word in your life and mine.